Benny's here.
Hello.
Hello, Benny.
Hello, guys. So feel free to ask anything. Where are you up to, guys?
Yeah, if you guys got questions, just post your questions now. After the start. No, China, not the peddler. You guys are degens.
We're taking over El Salvador with Bitcoin. Yep. AMA. They're interesting. Telegram AMAs are interesting. Lots of people try to win stuff, so you end up getting a lot of bots join those things as well. Will payments on the COGS game run through RFOX? Ray, we're working very hard to integrate RFOX for everything. It's going to take a little bit of time because we have both RFOX on the BSC chain and on the ETH side, and we're probably going to end up having it on more chains as well. So what we're looking at doing is having one type of login system, and then it will allow you to be able to integrate wallets from a number of different chains, and therefore you'll be able to use RFOX everywhere. But the other thing that we're looking at doing to make it even better is, as I stated last week, looking at doing a couple of partnerships that would allow us to accept pretty much any currencies, including credit cards and visas and all the rest of it, and then it would get converted into RFOX on the second layer. So that way, if we are truly headed towards mass adoption, doesn't matter what you've got in your pocket, we can take it and convert it for you. Miami-Dade County, Florida. As an Aussie icon, do you start your day with the breakfast of champions Weet Bix? Degen, we don't actually. You probably can. You can buy it here for sure and certain. I'll tell you what, Degen. Maybe you can answer me a question. Over here, it's kind of like an imported item, obviously, and it's pretty much a luxury item. When I went down to the supermarket, the only ones they had available, and I started eating them for about a year, they had cranberries and coconut inside of them. I was there like, never had any of this fancy garbage when I was growing up. If we put a little bit of cream and sugar on the top, it was like a happy birthday. Vegemite, chocolate Vegemite. Come on, every week you gross me out with these new Vegemite things. Really look forward to that payment partner announcement. Thanks, Betty. Yeah. So, Ray, we've actually got several partners, obviously, in the works. And the thing is that what we'd prefer to have is, look, we would normally have to have 3 or 4 different partners depending on the different countries and the regions, but we're working on a bigger deal. That would mean that we would just use one thing for all of them, and that would just be so wonderful. So we're fingers crossed, toes crossed that goes through. What time is speaking at the CGC event? Good question, Joiner. I'll have to come back to you on that one. Hang on 1 second, I can check. 3:30 to 4 o'clock Vietnam time. I don't know what time that is in outside world. 3:30 to 4. Loads of fancy Weet Bix, 2 times Weet Bix is Vegemite in the middle of the day. How is the vault coming along? Yeah, good. Here, Gamer. We have new technical people also joining us to help. We've got new people coming on board all the time. We've got partners that will be able to bring some further, I guess, tools and expertise with them as well. But as we start to sort of design this and start to make a little bit of progress, we also realise that that there's so much more stuff that we can do with it as well. So we've been talking to additional parties on how to sort of do more sooner. So that's pretty exciting. Still talking about dry Weet Bix. To click into the payment portal question, any ETA on when you think this is in place? Will it be in place before third edition COGS launch? PJ, we're working with 2 or 3 different partners right now. In the first stage, we're trying to just move as quickly as we can to get a payment partner integrated and get them all on board. As far as the one that would sort of encompass everything, that one's going to take a little bit longer, but they're moving to get parts of the business integrated straight away. But what we're trying to do is a bigger deal that gets everything integrated, including to our federated login system, meaning this would just be a dream come true. It would mean that we don't have to worry about anything ever again as far as the payments are concerned. With farming and staking yields dropping to more reasonable numbers on RFOX Finance, are you guys thinking about announcing new pools of high yield soon? Or is it several weeks or months away? So, Ray, the interest is there, as we've told you, like pretty much straight away. So we could do that anytime, really. We will look at it over the next week or two. And as stated, we've been interviewing people for the GM role that would sort of take over and decide the products and which things to actually add going forwards. So that's underway as we speak. But definitely we can do it if we wanted to. There is definitely the interest there. For the stamps, just checking if that's still on the schedule. Registered for my packs, never got confirmation. Yeah, the Benny. There's a promotion coming as well very shortly that we'll do with them for the stamps in the next week or so. So I'll keep you posted on that one as well. As far as I know, everything's still on track, mate. I will check with them tomorrow when we start to get this promotion together. How much of a challenge is the corporate red tape in finalising marquee shop partnerships? Corporate red tape's not too, to be honest, it's not too bad. It's more about the way they structure or roll out or function. The deal that we're trying to work the most on at the moment and working on closing at the moment is one that would actually, I've talked about this before, so it won't be a surprise to you, but I'm not going to tell you who, but one of the deals that we're looking at closing now would actually effectively be a brand launcher, meaning they'll rotate a number of very, very high profile brands through one store for their drops or releases or promotions. And that one's really exciting because it's a group of very, very top shelf companies that would just give us massive exposure. And we've got a couple of partners that we're dealing with that you wouldn't need anything else. Will people be able to create games in Vault using Vault's tools, or will they have to create games from outside Vault using whatever stuff, then do a plugin? Hero Gamer, the objectives has always been for people to be able to do both. So we've always said that we believe, even for games, that the biggest game probably won't come from us long term, that we'd bring out a few titles, but then we'd have the tools available for other people to come in, and we still believe that that will be the case. Someone asked me just on DM before to bring up the part. They said you've talked for ages about a partnership that you've got with people with multiple millions of users in Southeast Asia. What will happen with that? The thing that they really need is the ability for us to plug into, have a game to plug into the App Store and be able to plug it into their platform. And as you know, that's now a very, very close reality. So that's something that we can do very shortly as well. Your Gibraltar stamps arrived yesterday. Wow, well done. Further this question, have RFOX signed any Vault shop partnerships at the moment? Yes, Madame, we will be rolling those out one by one and doing a bit of a preamble or lead up to that. The first one that we're going to roll out will probably be, it's a multi-part one. So it's actually got several parts to the actual partnership. So we're trying to work out right now how to deliver that one. You're impressed? They're awesome, are they? Anything to report on the Rootstock BTC bridge and the marketplace vault? Look forward to the smart contract and NFTs working with Bitcoin. So basically, the BTC bridge with Rootstock is already in place and it's been tested, and we've actually given it a trial and it works fine. So now it's just a matter of that is at our access now. We've been speaking to the devs there in relation to the NFT marketplace, so they will wait for to finish the white label for the NFT marketplace, and then we'll be able to start integrating Bitcoin-based NFTs. So that's just a matter of timing. All the infrastructure's there now. Everything's in place, face. What exactly date and time will the next animated slammer be minted? I'll have to leave that one to the gaming guys. Did any new people or companies come knocking on your door because of Railpal? No. Not that we know of. Not that I know of that was specific to him. Definitely attention has been picking up and we've been talking to more and more people, but weirdly enough, I guess most of you who understand these types of industries would know, but most of the new interest has come from interest that we've got from, so we're talking to one brand or a group of brands and then they refer other people. So most of it's coming from referrals, to be honest with you. I think we have Miss Philippines, but where are RedFOX with locking in Miss Universe? Is that still on the table? So OJ, Miss Universe, as you know, happened in May. There's another one this year because it was delayed from last year. So we got offered to do the global Miss Universe for May, and we said we can't move fast enough. We've got too much stuff that we're juggling, so we can't move quick enough to get that in place. What they really wanted was us to sort of design, get it all ready and do it, and it was only like a couple of weeks away, and there was no real knowledge from their side on how to actually pull it all together, and we did not have resources or capabilities to do that at that time. They're going again at the end of this year. The Miss Universe Philippines, that one, like a lot of people said, what happened with that? It hasn't actually started. That they start doing the search for the new models and stuff in September, so a couple of months before the pageant side of things starts taking off. But yes, for those who keep asking, because a lot of people keep asking, which Miss Universe contestant do you have? It's not a particular Miss Universe contestant, it is the whole lot of them. So we get access to all of them, and all of them will be able to contribute to our social media channels and helping to grow our audiences. How do you flip 15 plus cogs every slam in the slam game? Build your secret technique. No, I can't do it. I'm not allowed to, I don't think. Bitcoin NFT bullish. Yeah. So Hero Gamer, just to clarify what that means, it means NFTs on the Bitcoin protocol, yes. And people have been screaming for that for a long period of time. So we worked for some period of time. I reckon we started over a year ago. And I think the bridge was in place like 7 or 8 months ago. I can't be sure exactly on memory, but 7 or 8 months ago, I think we did the transfer, roughly. So everything's in place. Everything's ready. We've talked to developers that they've got on their side ready to do. They can help us do NFTs. They're waiting for a white label version of the NFT marketplace to be ready to plug into. But just because it's ready to plug into also doesn't mean that we do have then a collection to actually launch. So what we have to do is we either bring a collection across their site or they provide us with a collection. So, we're yet to decide what the collection will be. They've got a couple of South American-based companies that will do some, but we're yet to really sort of have a look at what they've got or what they want to do. Yeah, Bitcoin.
RFOX wallet.
Did Bad Days have to tell Marvel's people to partner with pretty sure they would have to, but just wondering, do you have to pay royalty to Bad Days or Marvel for each sale? Just in general terms here, again, I won't talk about specific deal details because we've got a few others coming up as well, and people will always ask how that works. Generally, there's 3 different models that you use. You can either one, which is because people ask this all the time. They say, how does Wax get all of these big bloody IPs and these big projects and all the rest of it? Like, why do they go to Wax to build or whatever? So how it works generally, you've got 3 different ways. You can either buy a license right. So, for example, I can go to South Park and say, I'm going to give you $250,000, and then I would be able to use South Park's pictures to make NFTs, as long as I don't infringe on any of their other corresponding or conflicting types of revenue streams. So T-shirts, video games, food. I'd have to stick to the category of NFTs, and I might not be able to use cartoon footage on there. I might have to use stills or approved animations or whatever. So that's one way. Second way is you partner with them, and then if you partner with a company or an IP, then you would negotiate like a revenue share. So you would do a split of the revenue, and that can depend on what the partner is. Some of them combine the first 2, so some of them say give us an upfront fee and then do a rev share. And then the third way would be more like what we do with our NFT platform, where they would come along and say, hey, you've got the tools that we want. What's the fee to use your tools? And we'll do all of the work, and then we'll get all of the payments and all the rest of it. So, for example, we might say to launch a product on our platform is going to cost you 10% or 20%, and then they'd have all the tools at their disposal to be able to launch their own collection. They can keep all the revenue they get. Does that make sense? Have a great day, China. Hope that makes sense. In regards to the play to earn economy, it seems clear that COGS has been redesigned to be more inclusive for a young audience with more probably a game that appeals to younger people. Consequently, are there going to be any legal issues in regards to the age? No. So OJ, we talked about that, and there's more information coming out about that in the next day or so. The idea of it was to make it more appealing to a wider audience, but no. So just let Fads and the gaming team talk to you about that. But ultimately, the idea is to get it to appeal to a much wider audience. It's not like for kids or anything like that. The thing is that if you have a look at previous Slam type games, this is a similar type of mode or feel that they had. One of them had hundreds of thousands of players before. I think it had millions of downloads, and it was doing really, really well. They didn't have any like that. So no, the play to earn won't change. It'll be the same type of system, but and again, I can't really talk to you about this stuff. I'm spoiling games' party, but ultimately there are more games coming. So as we've always stated, COGS is actually the Slam game was going to be the first game of a series of games that the interoperable pieces were usable in. So there will be more than one game. And the first game took a long time because we had to get through how to make it all work and how to get it all going. The second game will not take a long time. Actually, imagine a big Thor hammer statue involved. Yeah, hero game where we can actually do any of that stuff very easily. And there is some stuff that we'll be doing that's pretty cool. That's at the same type of level as that. But yeah, a lot of people think there's some big mystery to the IP and how do people get it and how come they won that? How come they got that? It's the same with like Dapper or NBA Top Shots or whatever. Any of them would go to those franchises or agencies and say, hey, we'll give you X money and we'll make this much money for you, and then we'll take X cut. And they make a deal. That's how they do it. It's not like those big brands just come to you and give you stuff. It's not how it works. But if you've done a couple of good releases, the big brands start asking you, how can we do that? How can we, what would a deal look like for us to be able to work with you? And that's how it works. Okay, any other questions that you want to ask?
Yeah, just to add on to what Benny just said. So we need you guys' help to make our launches very successful, so that bigger brands will come to us. Not financial
Right.
advice, but spend more money.
Yeah, Pineapple Pete told us about the Pikachus or whatever it was yesterday or a couple days ago.
I did not say that. Somebody else said that. Don't put words in my mouth.
We've had a couple. To be honest, we've had a couple of brands come to us that are massive. That would be ginormous. And I know that one of the other chains, another chain. So we're up against other chains, not necessarily just projects. We're up against a couple of other chains, and in both instances, we were able to say yes to that deal if we wanted it, but commercially, it doesn't make any sense. The fees to issue NFTs for these brands is like ridiculously high, and you're probably never going to make your money back ever again. But you'd be getting a lot of exposure, like huge exposure, but you'd be in a sinkhole as far as cash is concerned. So you'll see a couple of big ones get announced in the near future. And yes, they have passed through our fingers, and we've sort of said it doesn't make any commercial sense. But good luck to those who have decided to fork out the hefty fees, and hopefully they can make up for it in advertising revenue or something like that. Do you think the Marvel deal will open more doors for you? Well, we've already got more deals. The fact is that we've got to be, and that's what I guess I was alluding to just then. We're having to learn to say no, because, and we've said this a million times internally. 6 months ago, a couple of people that sort of approached us, we were like, oh my gosh, could we really? Is it possible? Can we do this? 6 months later, we're like, oh gosh, we shouldn't have agreed to that. Or we're looking at that and thinking to ourselves, gosh, the opportunities are getting bigger and bigger. But the issue is that that's going to continue going forwards, and we can't be in a situation where we're rejecting really great offers because we're struggling to try and cover them all. So we have to be a bit selective. And the thing with the metaverse is that we get both. So we not only get clients come in or big clients come in, we get big clients come in that want to do NFT releases. So that takes a long time to coordinate, because these digital shops, a lot of these big brands, this is a very big risk for them as far as they're concerned when they first start speaking to you. Secondly, once they do get their head around it, they say, you need to help us. So you need to help us do this and make this a success and get this out for us. And that requires a lot of resources. And as you know, as in any customer experience or customer service type industry, all of those people, and especially considering the size of them, would like to feel as though they're the only person that you're doing anything with, and require lots of time, energy, and effort. Lots. And that's why what we need to do is hurry up and get our tools out as fast as we possibly can, so as many of these companies that want can come in, release their own sets, and not have to be have their handheld, which we have no problem with. We just don't have the resource to do that for everybody that wants it. Do you mean fees to mint the charging to do so? No, OMC, I'm talking about, so some of the big brands, like, being very honest with you, some of the big brands want to sign multi-year deals, and they want to charge many millions of dollars per year for a multi-year deal. So you imagine how many NFTs you have to sell, and imagine how much interest you have to keep momentum for, and to gain, and to keep going in the traction for, especially considering that with a lot of those brands, they already have commercial deals with game providers, or broadcasting providers or whatever. So you can't use any footage, you can't make any games, you can't sell any merchandise. It's just straight NFTs. How would you sell 15 or $20 million worth of NFTs over 3 years? Even if it is a big brand, I know you might say, well, what about Top Shots and all the rest of it? They were allowed to use footage and motion and all the rest of it. It's an extremely interesting deal. I hope that makes sense. But many, many millions of dollars per year. Per year. And the thing that you've got to be mindful of. Huh? Did someone say something? But what I will say to you is also, as a company, and as a company that you guys might be invested in, would you like to think, and this is actually happening left, right, and centre, so it's not just a question about RedFOX. I'm saying this is happening. Other projects are doing this 100%. I'm saying, would you be happy for a project that you invested in to use all of the development money they have and then on one deal, and then try and use the profit that comes in if they can break even or make money to then bankroll the second year of licensing fees for some of these deals? It just doesn't make sense. Why would you risk your project in the hope that you can do one deal? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'd be pissed, mate. And actually, lots of people have talked to us about that in the past. Why don't you do this? Why didn't you spend that? Why didn't you do that? And if you have a look at the decisions that have to be made, you make the best decisions for the long term. I've talked lots lately, and I'll do a couple of blog series as well. But in the beginning, you have to decide, do you list on a ton of exchanges and just get momentum and then hope that that momentum provides money so that you can then build? Or do you build and then try and get people in and then try and gain traction and then hope that it tracks listings? I've talked about that lots the last few weeks. Lots of decisions that have to be made on those fronts. But going back to your question, we're getting lots of interest, yes, and we're sifting through deals, and we're saying no to deals that don't make sense. And what we've got now is a lot of the big brands want to get in. There's not a lot of avenues for them if they need their hand held. And they assume, based on figures that they've seen in newspapers or on websites or whatever, that their deal is worth a lot more than it might actually be worth, and therefore the price tags attached to are sometimes like ridiculous. So that's how it works. All right, I'm into your DJ. Any last questions before we call it a night? For those of you who are interested, I am actually sitting down and I've done a few blogs that haven't been published yet in relation to this type of stuff, like the business decisions that have to be made and what the project goes through and all the rest of it. I'm not sure whether people are interested in reading that type of stuff. I've kind of targeted it more towards onboarding and bringing people in, but if it was something that I don't know how much from an investment perspective, I have quite a lot of stuff being written on the decisions you have to make and the directions you have to take and why and how. And yes, because it is fascinating.
You have members of the community that want to wear your used clothes. So, I mean, of course we want more material. So.
But it is like that's what I do have a chuckle at. Like the two things that I said in an interview this week. Hopefully it comes out soon because it was a pretty good interview. That was saying, there's a lot of people that think it's pretty easy. How do you like? What do you go through? So he explained it. It was quite a fascinating conversation. But then they said, what about these trolls? What about people that actually dedicate huge amounts of time to like trying to do smear campaigns or try to bring you down or pull you down? And Australians would understand it a lot better than others if I make the reference to like a Steve Waugh cricket player or whatever. But the thing is, it's a form of flattery. Anybody who's prepared to spend that amount of time, imagine how good they'd be at something else if they actually spent their time doing something positive or constructive or learning something.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the highest form of flattery. I mean, your time's your most valuable asset. You can't get it back. You can't get more of it. And for someone to spend an exorbitant amount of time trying to derail something or to try and spread FUD or cause FUD, it's the hugest compliment you could possibly be paid. It actually motivates me rather than actually than anything else. I think it's wonderful. Bless their little cotton socks. But yeah, so there's a pretty good blog series that I can do. Hey Benny, have RedFOX Labs considered speaking with any of the large virtual reality companies such as Oculus, Sony, or HTC to get? So that's to come for sure. Crypto Matrix. What we're trying to do is just get the foundation and hook some stuff right first. But having said that, we're working with a VR AR company that's also involved in another venture that has access to sound, and we've talked before about 8D sound and all the rest of it. But we're working on a deal with these guys, and that's for a massive client. But if that were to go ahead, even if it weren't to go ahead, we'd definitely, they'll bring us clients that will have those skill sets and abilities. And we also, through our team, we know people that are in those fields as well. So we're looking very forward to plugging in other people's technology to the space that like those brands for sure, 100%. But ultimately, virtual reality and augmented reality have always been on our roadmap as far as being important and have to come in at some stage, and that's not changed. They will continue to be extremely important, especially in the metaverse scape. But again, when you get to those types of technologies, it is much more likely that we are going to integrate and use and partner with people that already have a decade's worth of experience and product development and all the rest of it. There's certain things that you don't go out and build yourself from scratch unless you've got a much bigger long-term vision plan and budgets and all the rest of it. But ultimately, we're building the platforms that allow these types of people to plug in. We're not going to be doing it any other way. OJ, we're, in all honesty, we're sitting down and doing the strategy sessions now on how to do that. But obviously, the Philippines is the first place we're targeting for, I guess, a My Media model expansion. But it's not My Media as such. It's got a lot of new features and benefits, and they're going to be focusing very heavily on the sale and setup and structure of the billboard space in the virtual space as well. So how to sell the marketing space, what it looks like, what does it do, and there's some really top flight ideas. But as far as crowd building and stuff is concerned, two things. I won't actually spoil Philip's party on that, but let's just say that the My Media arm is going to be woken up, shaken up, and activated now. So it's happening now. Tomorrow we've got another big strategy session for planning on how to win a big audience. We need at least 100,000 fresh new people just in the Philippines before Miss Universe starts, so that we can have a successful campaign. All right. Sorry I joined late because of the AMA. I'll join at the right time next week. But thank you very much for taking your time to join us tonight. If there's any last questions, let me know. If not, no. All right. Awesome. Have a great week, and we will see you same bat time, same bat channel next week.